Sure, abuti honestly.
Today we're going to do a reaction just based on this interaction of the Patriotic Alliance, Kunene. So we got a situation where we're finding that the members of Patriotic Alliance and the other parties of the Democratic Alliance and so forth went on a trip to Israel, and they call it a fact-finding trip, right? So we have all seen this. If you're a patriot, if you're on Facebook and you're always following Biza, Ashley Souls, you will know when certain things have been done. So he went there and he did live videos that I'm going to Israel and this is what's happened. I'm in Israel, this is what's happened. I can ask questions for you. And he actually interacted about it and he posted pictures on it. So it has always been known, right? He made it very, very vocal. He put it out there, and nobody could claim that it was hid from them or it was something in the underworks that they discovered. So as I start the video, you'll also hear that it's already addressing that.
Let me start with Brett of the Good Party. Since Brett has not been a member of parliament, he has been sitting at home very bored. As you would know, that Good got only one seat. There was no secret about this trip. You would have seen that Ashley Souls, the Honorable Ashley Souls, member of parliament, did post on Facebook. And that's where Brett got to see this, that PA members are in Israel. So it was not a secret. I don't know when he says he discovered a secret trip. Does he discover things on Facebook, which is a public space? That's the first one. There was nothing secret about this trip. Number two, yes, indeed, our members got the thumbs up from the Patriotic Alliance leader, myself and the NEC, to go to Israel on that fact-finding mission. This follows up our trip led by Gaten McKenzie, myself, the Secretary General and other NEC members when we went to Israel in July of 2023 on a fact-finding mission. There's been developments in the region, and the two leaders were then allowed to be part of this trip organized by South African Friends of Israel.
So maybe just to
See, exactly. Organized by South Africa Friends of Israel. They paid for that trip. They organized that trip. And they made sure that they take them there intact, that in safety, to go and find out information. Because they're also members of parliament. Also, some members are still in their political parties, right? So they want facts to be there for the Israelis. For the Israelis. They are obviously friends of Israel. So obviously they want Israel to be in good books and try and actually come to a point where they try and change the perspective of the SA government. Because these people are some of the people in government. Or knowing that they're obviously in coalition with the African National Congress, right? But then obviously they understand that the Democratic Alliance, who's in the PA, who are more in support of the Israelis, are not in power. So they're trying to actually, how do I put this, actually make a crack so that they can actually have a way for them to actually swindle themselves into, find themselves back into the books where South Africa can maybe possibly withdraw the case. Hence they call it a fact finding, to go and discover some of those facts. Some of those facts. And you know, with this one, I also just like how he answers it, especially looking at the fact that each parties are allowed to actually have their own policy positions, right? You are allowed to have your own beliefs. You're allowed to see things in your own way. And that is for your party And if other parties decide against that, if other parties decide that they believe more in some other things and then they back those other things more, it is solely up to them. Nothing you could do. There's really nothing you could do. You just have to accept it. So it's also very, very difficult in that regards. But I just like how he's going to actually answer and let her know that each person, as much as this is a democratic country, a freedom of speech and a freedom of choice country, you are able to decide on doing anything that you want to do, and that they do not owe Parliament, they do not owe the six administrations, or should I say, last year's decisions onto them, onto their parties, because November last year was already in the seventh administration of Parliament.
Our position has been very clear that you cannot fix the situation in Israel and Palestine by removing the embassy of Israel. We are totally against it. And in the event in 2029, Gaten McKenzie becomes the president of this country, we will make sure that the embassy of Israel in South Africa is strengthened, and the embassy of South Africa to Israel is also strengthened. We as South Africans cannot take sides on this particular matter. We must encourage both the parties to work together to coexist, because we are an example of that coexistence. We are living with our former colonizers. We have, through the leadership of President Nelson Mandela, went through a process of reconciliation. That's what we must encourage as government and as a nation, for Israel and the Palestinians to find each other, to coexist, to reconcile, and live together in peace. The same way we have done with our former colonizers, with the architects of apartheid who have murdered our people, we have brutally killed innocent children, mothers and fathers in our country and in other countries where we were preparing for military action. We have abandoned that military action. All the organizations abandoned that military action, and we went to a peace table. And that's what we must encourage, instead of encouraging these divisions in Israel and Palestine.
Everybody has a right to actually go wherever they want and to actually believe in what they want. We live in a country where people believe in a whole lot of different things, whole lot of different churches, whole lot of different sports clubs, whole lot of different cultural groups, a whole lot of different friends, circles, and associates. People have a freedom of choice. Even that in which it is in link with these Israel and this Gaza issue. People believe that the Palestinians are actually in the right and the victims, and some people believe that the Israelis are in the right and actually protecting themselves and doing what should be done. So it's very, very difficult, because just like you said, at the end of the day, people can go and find information for us. They could bring it to us. But you have a choice to believe it or to not. It's as simple as they say. You can bring a horse to the water, to the river, but you can't make the horse drink the water.
Taken prior.
When we were in Israel, we tried to go into Palestine. Myself and one of the leaders, we were violently stopped by the Israeli police, by the Palestinian police. Very, very brutal. And when you look at this delegation that went now, they had an Israeli guide, a Jewish guide that was taking them through. And when they got to the Gaza border and they wanted to go into the Palestine, number one, they had to change the guide from a Jewish guide to a Palestinian guide, because the Jewish guide said they are not accepted in Palestine. Still being with the Palestinian guide, the police at that Gaza border were very arrogant, rude towards this delegation. And the Palestinian guide had to explain, and they could see that he was finding it difficult to make them understand that this is a delegation from South Africa that is coming here to listen to the Palestinians. You would see pictures of them in the background, Palestinian flags, where they were at a peace building there in Palestine. So the fact-finding mission did not just focus on Israel. They also went into the Gaza. They interacted with Palestinians. Unfortunately, Hamas and the Palestinians, in fact, the leadership in Palestine is not making it easy for those who want to hear their side of the story to be able to do that. But fortunately, through the perseverance of this Palestinian guide, who deemed it necessary for this delegation to go into Palestine, they were able to be allowed into Palestine, and they were able to interact with the Palestinians. So they understand both sides of the story. And most of the Palestinians are saying, we are tired of the war. We want peace and coexistence. In fact, the Israeli people are saying, we are tired of the war. We want peace and coexistence. So that is the view that they have from those interactions in both areas of the region.
Anybody should be tired of war. Anybody should be tired of war. You know, the daunting, the like lack of security, not knowing if you're still gonna be there that day, not knowing what is gonna be what, if you're gonna have to go into hiding, a whole lot of stuff. Then all the struggling begins. Lack of food, lack of everything, infrastructure. So that is very, very, very painful, right? And something that you could never wish on to anybody. So yeah, that's a very daunting situation. But let's just hope that in such a situation that at least the guide was then able to go and take these delegations to go into the place, to go and ask relevant questions, go to see these relevant places, because this is still a fact-finding mission where you want to be able to find the truth, where you want to be able to tell the truth for yourself, because you can't always continuously be told and believe everything. But then at the end of the day, you have got the responsibility to choose if you want to believe or not believe something, and that we can all respect. So very, very good coming from this member, our DP leader Kunene, right? So it's also very, very important that people understand that just because you do not believe into something does not automatically force others. Because I think that's the big thing that people are struggling with. Either it is that or the lack of relevance, where they just want to be relevant because they've got really nothing more to offer.
So it is not a one-sided issue. When PA say we are friends of Israel, yes, we are friends of Israel, but it doesn't mean that we hate the Palestinians. We understand their cause, but we have gone there, and the Israeli have afforded us an opportunity to hear them. President Herzog, His Excellency, met with us, and even this delegation, President Herzog made time to meet with this delegation and put the position of Israel on the table. So we will not abandon our relationship with Israel. We are friends of Israel. We advocate for peace. We advocate for coexistence. As I said, that South Africans are an example of such coexistence.
Exactly, because we've had this before. We've had this. And like he's also said, we're living with our former colonizers. So we understand it. We can actually move past it. And I believe that they could also do that. They could also do that. They could find ways in which they could forgive each other, maybe become a two-state or one thing, and just move on, right? Because when the thing of terrorism gets in, that becomes something different. But there can be other ways in which people could interact and try to find ways to live together, coexist. Because I think that is one of the things that really do matter most, that people really need to try and achieve. And we're just failing at it. We're failing at it in these recent times.
They found what we also found. There's no apartheid. Apartheid in South Africa was very clear. You don't use the same toilets. You don't go to the same restaurants. You don't climb the same, you don't get onto the same buses. There were signs that were clear that a black person can't come here, can't go there. It's only white people that must go there. There's no such signs in Israel. We use the same toilets. We go everywhere. Jews, Palestinians, and foreigners. That's why we say we did not experience. We know apartheid better than those who are talking about apartheid. So I don't understand when any South African says there's apartheid in Israel, what do they mean? In fact, the Palestinians go into Israel as they wish, but the Israeli can't go into Palestine as they wish. So if you are going to talk about apartheid, then it will be apartheid that is on the side of Palestine. I've just mentioned that the delegation had to change a guide from a Jewish guide to a Palestinian guide, because even the Palestinian guides and Jewish guides understand that the Jewish guides are not allowed in Palestine. Yet the Palestinian guides are in Israel, and that is where the exchange happens. So we did not experience any apartheid. We did not experience any discrimination of any person whatsoever. When you go to Jerusalem, you find that the Palestinians are operating on one side of the building, the Israeli are operating on the other side. They are working together in the stalls, servicing foreigners, Palestinians, and Israeli people alike. So from a point of view of apartheid, you would have seen a different picture. So the delegation has confirmed what we confirmed, what we said in July 2023. We did not see any signs of apartheid in Israel.
And
because a lot of people have been saying that there's apartheid, so what he's saying, because it was a fact-finding mission, right? Where he then goes on to specifically says that there were not boards that say no only Israelis here, no Palestinians, just like there was like no whites on these benches in these toilets past this or should be around here. So if people are interacting and moving freely amongst each other and there's nothing really stopping them, and that people are actually living together and people are actually being led to come visit into the country, and then they can come but you just can't go to their side. Now that is what is very, very daunting, and which is also very, very scary, because then it does tell you that those other side is very, very hostile, and hostility is a big, big problem. So I don't know, just gonna have to see with some of these things as time goes, but that is what I believe to be true, because it's being told to me by my deputy president. But also there's always people out there that I know are going to do these relevant researches, fact checking, and then so could be nowhere that he could lie, because if that could be the case, obviously people will come back and actually say so and so did not actually do A, B, C, and D as proposed. So it is what it is, guys. Let's just finish on the last
No. Any political party can have its position. We don't write statements when the ANC is interacting with Iran. Although we disagree with how Iran operates, you didn't see us write a statement when the ANC hosted Hamas that murdered innocent people, civilians, young people at a fun place where there was a concert, and they took advantage and murdered unarmed young people, men and women. We didn't write statements when the ANC hosted this terrorist organization Hamas in our country, because we understand that each political party, be it in the GNU, be it in the GNU or otherwise, they have their own policy positions and their own foreign policies. We differ with them, but we understand that we have an obligation to serve South Africans. And South Africans have given a mandate through their vote for us to serve them in a coalition. But yes, we remain friends of Israel, unapologetically so. The ANC would favor the Palestinians, but we will continue engaging the ANC to reconsider its position on the Israeli embassy here in South Africa, now that we are part of the GNU. We will continue to persuade everyone to preach one message of peace and coexistence in that particular region.
All right.
And that is exactly the only thing that the Patriotic Alliance can do. So, exactly just how you'd expect from the Patriotic Alliance. If you're not going to be drama queens, not Karens, not going to hail all the time, crying, deception, crying this, crying that. You have to accept what it is and actually move on, because this is life. Now we find that, okay, the ANC have their own foreign policies. We will also have our own foreign policies, and in which they're not matching, right? So if they're not matching, then you just have to accept that they're not matching and not cry about it. So now we're in a position where we find that, okay, with all being said and done, like I just explained, we are not in government, but now in government, it's in different levels of government. And now having been in these different levels of government, we can now actually have a contribution, trying to actually save the people of our country. Trying to actually say that maybe, because we're also friends of Israel, like he emphasized, we're also going to then try and talk for them and say that there is no genocide, there is no apartheid. These are some of the things that Hamas has done. These are some of the things that are happening. Like I've explained, the concept of the guides being able to come that side, being going to the Palestine side to ask questions, Israeli side ask questions. See there in the Jerusalem where people are selling together as one, in harmony in one market. Because a market is a place where there's how many people buying, going up and down, interactions. It's a market of money, where money flows, where food is bought for people to go and take back home to eat and prepare food for their families. So very, very interesting, because this also goes to just become, like they say, every day in South Africa is a move. You forget about things that happened last week. So now we're already at a point where we're seeing different things that you didn't even expect that it would be a big issue, but it's been made a big issue, and hence we are here at this very moment. Guys, please do continue to like, share, subscribe. Definitely be back with another one very, very soon. Spizani, salute. Make sure you subscribe, guys. Please, and I love you. Muni Baizani.
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.